Welcome to Dr. Roger and Friends, the bright side of longevity, hosted by three Ps in a podcast, Doc Roger, Teresa, and Danielle. Thanks for joining us for coffee and conversation.
Well, haven't we been through adventures these last 8 months or so? It's something, huh? I mean, nothing that we could have predicted. But, it's really, I think, called into question something that we have been talking about for decades, and that is about the whole idea of resilience. Just in normal life and later stages in life, we know that lifestyle, which can help give us a much better quality of life and in a healthy longevity. But that almost all comes down to resilience, I think, since life throws us curveballs. But now with this COVID thing, goodness, that's testing all of our resilience. And I think we're getting a look at resilience that goes beyond the abstract. I mean, when we would talk about life's curveballs, this isn't a curveball. This is a cannonball coming at us, and so this is a topic that affects everybody. As if you have a pulse, no matter where you live, our resilience is really being tested, and makes us wonder, really what is it, and how we can make it better, and what tax it. How you guys doing with your resilience?
I'd like to say I'm doing well, but I happened to look at this How Resilient test that you sent me, Roger, and I got to say, unless you're grading on a curve, I might have failed in a couple of areas where maybe a few months ago I would have been doing better.
I think we should go through it.
Definitely.
So this is a quiz from a book called The Resiliency Advantage by Al Siebert. He's a PhD. And this is 9 questions, and you're supposed to rate them 1 to 5. 5 means this sentence describes you. And 1, there's no way this sentence describes me, and then whatever is in the middle. So why don't we do that? Because I think the currency of surviving and doing well and having a good attitude and lifestyle and quality of life and everything right now in this environment, I mean, for those who aren't actually under fire, like in healthcare and aspects of senior living and others, and maybe mothers at home with their children. No, I think it does apply to everybody. But again, hats off to the heroes here who are really under fire and on the front line. And sometimes I feel like this is a little whiny or whatever when we talk about, our challenges when these people are facing such big things. So hats off to our heroes. But for the rest of us who are just basically locked at home. So here's the first question.
Say again, Roger. 5 that's very much like me.
That's right. 5,
okay, got it.
This sentence that I'm reading, 9 sentences. And if they describe you completely, 5, not at all, 1, and then whatever's in the middle.
Okay.
So I'm usually optimistic. This is the first sentence. I see difficulties as temporary and expect to overcome them. What do you think about that one, guys?
5, nailed it.
Yeah. Yeah. Would John, your husband, say the same thing about it?
He would. I'm very Disney, I'm sure. How he would rate himself, or how he would?
No, you.
I'm pretty sure he'd agree.
Well, that's good. Well, Teresa, you're out there in California, in the San Joaquin Valley, and where everything grows. It's the breadbasket of not for bread, but for fruits and vegetables of the world, really. And so, you have helped me understand agriculture, but I have some others who are in agriculture. So this sort of things you kind of face all the time, setbacks, usually weather or whatever, usually weather related or whatever. And so it seems to me that if you're in agriculture, this one's got to be a 5 or a 4 or 5 for you.
It is for me. It is for me. That's right. Nothing is permanent.
Well,
for sure.
I'm a Pollyanna, my wife tells me, and this so it I really tend to be half full all the time, and I guess that applies here. So I'm going to give myself pretty high, 4 or 5. So the next one is feelings of anger, loss, and discouragement don't last long. Similar, but you know that can be a tough one. Loss, I mean, it depends upon what we're talking about for loss. There's degrees of loss. I lost my wallet. You know, I lost my ability to go to movies, or I lost my spouse. There's a big difference there. So I think we have to allow for degrees here. But I think what they're trying to get at is the day-to-day things that happen to us, not the major events. What do you think?
Yeah, if we're talking day to day, I'd say a 5. If we're talking major loss, then it would be a little lower. So if we want to be realistic, I'll say 4.5.
Yeah, I think we'll take out the major losses, like someone who loses a family member to COVID or something. Now that's not something that don't last long. Of course, it does last long. I think being the Pollyanna, I think I'd be up there. Teresa, what do you think?
So interesting that question is included in a resilience scale because, profound loss resilience has a lot to do with how we recover from profound loss. So I guess I'm very curious about that, but I would classify it similarly to you all. But when someone loses a spouse or someone very close, it does last long, and that's normal. It should and can last long. So I guess that would be my only comment there.
Yeah, I totally agree. Third one is I can tolerate high levels of ambiguity and uncertainty about situations. Danielle?
This is where I fail. I would give myself a 3.5. Wait, you didn't say, can I give myself like partial credit? Can I do 3.5 if we're keeping track? I think
do whatever you want.
I've gotten better about the ambiguity but I can't say that I like it.
We got lots of ambiguity, right? And with this COVID situation, when is it going to be over? When's the vaccine? Who can I come in contact with safely? What can I do safely? Because, there's unfortunately, no firm, consistent advice. Maybe wearing a mask, but even that, depending on where you are, you don't get that kind of advice. So that's a tough one. But I think we know what they're trying to get at. Not everything is set in stone. You can't set a path and expect everything in life is going to go that way. And if you need that, then you're not going to be very resilient. Any thoughts, Teresa?
Yeah, I think personally I'm somewhere in the middle. I can roll with some of it, but I mean, I don't know that anyone loves a high amount of ambiguity.
Uncertainty. Yeah, no, I think in this particular case, I think this is the one that's wearing at us most. I think you could have started in March with tremendous resilience, and this one is starting to chip away at your ability to navigate through this, your resilience.
Yeah.
Okay, I adapt quickly to new developments. I'm curious and I ask questions. People?
I feel good about that one. I'd give myself a 5 on that one.
Yeah.
I'm an adapter.
And I'd give Teresa a 5 too. And is that true?
I was considering a 4, but okay, 5, you know me well.
But I am too. I think just by the bright side of longevity. Come on.
You see, just by the virtue that she adapted to your suggestion that quickly, you should be a 5.
I don't know how right it is to rate someone else, but I've known Teresa a long time. Okay, next one. I'm playful. I find the humor in rough situations and can laugh at myself.
That's a 5 for me.
Good.
Optimism and humor are my go-tos.
Yeah.
Now, whether other people find me amusing doesn't matter, but I find myself and I find humor in everything. So.
Well, I've told stories about the silly, crazy things that I've done, so I think I get a 5 on this one. to make them laugh and not being too caught up in the need to be perfect. There's humor in all the screw ups that I've had. Teresa?
This is another one that I go back to profound loss, and there is no humor there. And so maybe I'm not, maybe I'm going to the dark side a little bit too much, but it depends. It really depends for me.
Well, it should. And we're all coming from different places, what our life experiences have been. So I totally get that. But you know what I think this refers to is, when we worked the emergency room, we had this thing called gallows humor or dark humor.
Mm-hmm.
And that is basically something you would never share with someone outside your team because it would seem disrespectful. But it's something that you need to face what you face every day. So I think people working in healthcare now and in senior living, they are particularly in the back room saying things that hopefully, bring a laugh. But, in another circle might be considered, again, disrespectful. So it's absolutely necessary. I remember a time when, some of you, I think maybe both of you have heard the story. We were in trouble in a fighter, and we had an armed bomb hanging from the wing, and we had to decide whether we were going to land or we were going to jump out of the airplane. And the pilot was nice enough to ask me my opinion, although I totally was going to go with whatever he was going with. But he was nice enough to ask, and so I said, "Well, I think we should try to land." And he said to me, he said, good decision, Doc, because you know what? Either way, it's not going to hurt. Humor in a dark situation. Okay. I learned valuable lessons from my experience and from the experiences of others.
I feel good about that one.
Yeah, I would rate both of you 5 and give myself a 4.9 because I think you guys are better. I think that's critically important, but that's almost all the time. But okay, next one. I'm good at solving problems. I'm good at making things work well.
I feel pretty good about that. I'd say 4.5 or 5.
Yeah, forget about feeling like you're bragging or anything, but it's just. I think we get to a certain stage in life. We've met a lot of problems and gotten through them. So, what do you think, Teresa?
Yeah. I like to think of myself that way. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I'm strong and durable. I hold up well during tough times.
Darn it. I would give myself a 3 or a 3.5 on that one. I think
yelling or acting out or something that may be the way I'm not saying you do that, but if someone does that, that may be a way of actually, being durable, even though, maybe there's a little drama involved, but I mean, it's that you are, I don't know.
If avoiding stress is durable, then I've nailed it. But if going through stress, I think I'm okay. I've taken a few knocks, but I definitely see that as a growth area.
And once again, Teresa, I bet you would say profound loss. This would change your answer to this one for sure. But.
Yeah, when I think about that, I think about being held up by others, including the two of you. And that says something too. I think sometimes it's okay that we don't hold up all that well. Then other people can come in and help hold us up. And that's also a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Well, that's well said. And that's more contextual, and that's more thinking of others and not just us. And so kudos. Another kudo for Teresa. I've converted misfortune into good luck and found benefits in bad experiences.
Yeah. I preface this by saying I would trade it all to not have lives lost, but I feel like I have gone through the most growth in my entire life in this past year.
Really?
So I'd give myself a 5. I feel like I've accomplished more and learned more about myself. Again, I would trade it in a heartbeat if we could reverse the last year, but
really?
Yeah.
Really?
Well said, Danielle.
How about you, Teresa?
Yeah, I think, this is a topic that's really interesting to me. And I think it kind of leads into